Hey guys, so right now you should be starting an animal drawing, looking at a picture for an animal and doing your best to draw as detailed as possible. The one thing that I'm going to be grading you on for this is texture, so I want you to make sure that you really include some texture. So I'm going to go through a couple types of texture that you can see. So the very basic, I'm just going to do little squares of them. So the very first one would just be doing the texture of fur. Ooh, sorry, I messed that up, but that's okay. So when I'm doing fur, what I do is I make sure I just kind of lightly hit my pencil and do a lot of little lines. The trick with this is you really want to look at the animal and see which direction the fur goes, because hair grows all over their body. And so sometimes it changes directions. Like when it's on the face, it kind of goes away from the nose, and then it kind of spreads down the neck, and the legs go a different direction. And then you got to think, like, does this animal have curly hair? Is it really long? Like if it's I'm trying to think, like a lion's mane. A lion's mane would have really long lines to do for fur. And then if you compare like a lion's mane to maybe like the body of a sea otter, like a sea otter would have very short hair that's smoothed down because it's all going one direction because of its swimming. So think about that. The trick to make it really look like a fur texture is having the lines kind of overlap. So this kind of looks like maybe wolf's fur, because I did a couple pieces that were a little bit longer. But that would be how I get my fur texture, something like that. Now there are animals with certain patterns. You can do this and then do a little more pressure with your pencil and design the pattern, but I'm just going to show you how I would do the different types of patterns for certain animals. So I learned this trick in middle school, surprisingly. So for a cheetah, you're going to do a bunch of O's, but when you're doing the O's, you kind of want to do a scribbling motion, which doesn't really make sense, but you'll see it. So I'm going to just scribble back and forth with my pencil, and I made like an O like this. It doesn't look right until you get a couple of them going. So I'm going to scribble back and forth, scribble back and forth. So this might be like a cheetah, or actually a cheetah is the only one with spots, or is it? Yeah, a cheetah, I think. I don't think leopards have spots. Or if leopards do, they're like the solid spots. I'm not a zoologist, guys, so I don't know if that's correct. But I'm just filling this box with O's, just kind of like scribbly O's. I kind of like to change the size of them sometimes too, but that would be kind of like the cheetah leopard pattern. If you have colored pencils for that, I would do like the O's like a dark brown, yellow on the outside, and then maybe like an orange color in the middle, because that different variations of color makes sense. Another texture that you can think of is like for cow spots. Obviously cows just have big spots, splotchy, but you can go in and like do the individual lines. So like draw the circles for the spots, and then to show that a cow is furry, instead of just coloring these in solid, I'm going to do lines like the same direction. So maybe that shows that it's fur instead of just like a solid circle on him or her. We can have he and she cows. Something like that. Let's see, what's another one? Oh, like, so maybe fish scales. So fish scales are kind of easy. You just have to do a lot of them. That's the thing with patterns, and, well, not patterns, with texture. Texture has patterns. So a lot of this stuff you're going to have to repeat. So for fish scales, you can do like little C's across. So something like this right here. And then what you're going to do is you're going to do another layer, but you have to make sure that anywhere it goes down right here, you're going to have a bubble on top of that. So they kind of like, I don't know the word for it, but I'll show you. So like here, 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 something like this. So they're kind of off center every row. They're never like perfectly lined up on top of each other. Unless you see that on your animal, but I don't really think that occurs in nature. We can just do a couple of these. If you want to get fancy, you can add value between each layers, which makes it look really 3D and nice. It's up to you. I do something like this. This. Mine got kind of turned, but that's okay. See, that would be scales. And when I mean add value, I would go into those sections that have like a V and kind of darken it. And it makes it look like there's shadow, makes it look more 3D. It kind of gives it more of a layer of texture. See, something like that. See the value up here versus down here? That makes it look more 3D. Another one that you could have, maybe, I don't know, just an animal with very dry skin. So you can do like cracks. Or maybe this is wrinkles. I would just add the lines. If you want to get fancy, you can just go over it a little bit with a little bit less pressure to make it look like it's shaded. So that would be like wrinkles. So an animal with wrinkles maybe would be like an elephant around their ears. You could do tiger stripes always. Really look at the pictures of your animals because those are going to be more natural looking patterns than like something you make out of your head. So like these aren't even that accurate for me because I'm trying to attempt to make these from memory. But if you do these, if you look at the picture, you can really nice realistic textures that will make your picture 10 times better than something you make out from your memory. I'm just doing some tiger stripes. I could add those lines of texture of fur if I wanted for these. So tiger stripes versus wrinkles. Let's see, maybe I can try like a shell or reptile-y kind of texture. You could look at something like, I feel like reptiles, they just have these like weird bumpy texture. So I'm just going to draw a bunch of circles. They're kind of like scales, but they're circles or like squarish shapes. Maybe this could be alligator. Honestly, I'm not even lifting my pencil right now. It almost looks like teeth too. But I'm just doing these loops to make these bumps. This might even be snakeskin if you wanted. You could turn it into that. I feel like snakeskin would be this, but just more circular, less of these square shapes that I'm doing. I'm just filling it up with these shapes to show kind of like the scales or separation in the skin that this animal might have. Do some off the circle. Okay, so now if I'm looking at that's a pretty good texture for like maybe like a crocodile or something. But you can add like, I'm looking at a picture of a crocodile skin right now. I know they have like little bumps, so I'm just adding lines to each one. You can add value around them if you want. That would be like alligator texture, I guess. Alligator or crocodile. And there is a difference between those two. It's the jaw. I think a crocodile has a longer jaw. I can't remember. I'll have to look that up. So there you go, like alligator skin. The last one I'm going to do maybe like a giraffe. So their spot patterns are a lot different. So they're not just spotted like a cow, because this cow is kind of like sporadic, but a giraffe, it almost like fits like puzzle pieces. So if you have a spot, another spot would fit next to it. It's very like geometrical and satisfying. It looks like a puzzle when you do it. It's like these shapes all fit together, but it's still spots. And then I could go in and color those. So these are my examples for fur. My best suggestion for you, not fur, for texture. So these are my examples of textures for animals. But my suggestion for you is to definitely look at your picture when you're drawing to make sure that you get the best textures that you can find. Hopefully one of these will help you in your assignment, but if not, you can Google different images of texture. And again, really looking at your animal's picture. I can't wait to see what you guys do, and I hope you have a good day. Bye!